Finally, the Hollywood Rock has come back. Welcome back to another episode of the Marked Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Mikey, and today we're just doing a short, little update episode, or I don't know what you want to call it. But I definitely have to do a reaction to the Hollywood Rock returning in Utah. That was amazing stuff. All right. We knew The Rock and Roman were going to be on SmackDown. They had been advertising it all week, and it did not disappoint. I mean, they kept hyping it up throughout the show, too. So there was a chance that it could have disappointed. Thankfully, it did not. First, Roman Reigns came out with the rest of the bloodline, comes out and just kind of hypes up the whole situation, and says, "Hey, here's the newest member of the bloodline, like officially part of the group now, The Rock." The Rock comes out. He is in that right away. You know he's in Hollywood mode. He comes out. He's got on the big Hollywood sunglasses. He's got on like this vest that looks like it costs thousands of dollars. It's got all sorts of embroidery and jewelry all over it. The thing my wife noticed about it right away was that it looked like Mickey Mouse was on it. When he turns around on the back, he's like showing off I can't remember. It's like a tiger, a jaguar that's on the back there. But like there's a couple of circles on the bottom and it makes a Mickey Mouse shape. And say, okay, well, I guess he does have a couple more Moana movies coming out, live action and a Moana too. So I guess maybe that's his shout out to, in the design of that shirt, getting Mickey Mouse in there. I don't know. But anyways, it's a real fancy looking shirt, right? He comes out there. He's got the goosebumps. He's got to show those off every time he comes out now. The goosebumps from the reaction that he still gets from the crowd. People love The Rock. It doesn't matter that he's healed. He's going to get that reaction. He's a legend. So he gets down to the ring, and what does he do? Oh man, he starts hyping up the crowd by saying, "Hey, I gotta let you guys know that this is we have broken a record here tonight. You guys broke a record for, largest, it was like a largest, indoor stadium attendance or something in Utah, right? I think that's what, that's what he was saying. So, the crowd's cheering, they're going wild, right? And then The Rock's like, "Okay, now let me tell you what you set the record for." you know, you set the record for the largest crowd of trailer park trash that I've ever seen. And then it's like, oh yes, we got The Rock back. This is the real Rock. This is Hollywood Rock, right? But this is not just the return of Hollywood Rock, but the real Rock that can actually say some good lines and deliver them, with feeling and get you to buy in. Rock has returned many times. I can't say many times, but a handful of times over the last 10 years. And you know what? They all sucked. Like I have a friend who is like, "Oh man, I'm so glad my kids get to experience The Rock." And I've shown a lot of videos to my kids of The Rock and a lot of his old matches, and they love him, right? Because they could see how great he is. But over the last 10 years, when he shows up, it's my kids aren't as excited by when he shows up alive. They're not excited by that as the stuff that we've watched from stuff that he did, 20, 25 years ago, because every time he showed up the last 10 years, it's like, oh, he calls the guy a jackass and then comes up with some sort of catchphrase that, you know, everybody chants at the guy, whether it's Baron Corbin or um, Eric Redbeard or, whatever, whoever it is, if whether it's gender, even as recently as gender, it was that recent, guys, that the Rock appearances still sucked, where he would just be, come up with some not even great catchphrase, but because he's the Rock and he's got charisma, everybody would chant because they know, like, hey, this is the Rock, he's a legend. We're not going to get a chance to see him all the time. When he tells us to call the bad guy a douche, we're all going to chant douche at the bad guy. But I mean, it was nowhere near any of his best work. So I agree with my friend that I'm glad my kids are getting to experience The Rock, but especially right now because we are getting a version of The Rock that is great. You know, before I kind of only really felt good showing my kids old stuff of The Rock, because current stuff, like I said, over the last 10 years while my kids have been around, and The Rock, whenever The Rock comes around, they don't give as good of a reaction as from old stuff, because the new stuff, it was all the same every time. And it was getting old, and again, frankly, it sucked. And even with gender, you saw that same formula, and then you saw him get physical, and you saw how physically gassed he got so quick. It was like, oh man, you have an image of The Rock in your mind, and that's the image you want your kids to see. You don't want them to see the version that he's been showing up to do, with these little one-off appearances over the last 10 years. We want the version we're getting now. So we are lucky things have worked out the way they have. Because again, you cannot convince me. There's still people out there convinced that this was the way that this was supposed to go right from the very beginning. No chance in hell was this the way this was supposed to go. Thank you, fans, for your response, because now we are getting something great. We're not getting something just thrown together that is like, hey, well, this is gonna catch headlines and divert eyes away from something else. No, we're getting something that is actually worthy of being a headline, and worthy of then reading the content of what the headline is, because the content that we're getting now is just, it is greatness on another level. It is just amazing stuff we're seeing right now. He went on in this promo. You can just go watch it. I don't need, again, I don't have to quote everything for you, but he hits all good lines, and again delivers them with actual conviction and passion that he hadn't done over the last 10 years. Talking about how, oh, you're gonna go, you and your 50 wives here in Utah will have something to tell your 600 inbred grandchildren to talk about. Talking about you guys, you had greatness right in your grasp at WrestleMania. You could have saw me and my cousin main event WrestleMania, but the Cody crybabies came in here and whined. But you're all a bunch of entitled losers. I saw everybody pointing out all these little Easter eggs where, when he says that, he says you're entitled losers, and I'm gonna make sure you don't walk out of WrestleMania with the championship. Everybody kind of is already pointing out he's kind of looking at Roman when he says that. So are they foreshadowing? Because then also at the end they put up the ones. The Rock, he's not really putting up just a one. He's putting up. Some people thought oh, that's a finger gun, or it's an L. Is he throwing up an L because Roman's getting the L? Trust me, WWE does like to do a lot of foreshadowing. They like to compare themselves to cinema, right? They always try to say, "Hey, we're not just making a sports show here. Like we're trying to be cinema. We're trying to make stories and have that sort of presentation." On cinema, you're always going to see a bunch of different foreshadowing. If you watch movies, you're going to see a lot of stuff foreshadowed, even if it's not in the written words. If you're looking on screen, you're going to see stuff around. You ever notice if you watch a film? Like the color grading will go more towards red when there's a scene coming up when somebody's going to die. Maybe you see posters in the background, or you see books in the background of a scene that kind of foreshadow something that a character is going to do later on. Like maybe, I can't think of an example, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of foreshadowing in TV shows and movies. I feel like there was a lot of foreshadowing going on in this, little promo that they gave here. So this is a lot of fun. This is going to be exciting lead up to WrestleMania now, and I'm here for it. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments. You know, do you agree with me? Is this the best appearance that we've had from The Rock in the last 10 years? Yeah, I mean, seriously, if it's going to go this way all the way till WrestleMania, I think we are going to be in for one of the best build-ups of WrestleMania of all time. Then hopefully all the matches and stories deliver on WrestleMania, but this could now potentially be one of the best builds to a WrestleMania of all time. So we all got to feel pretty lucky about that. Yeah, that's going to be the episode again. Please hit the subscribe button, notification bell, hit the like button, leave the comments. If you're on the podcast, please hit follow, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and a written review, because that all helps out the show. And thank you again for listening. Later, Marks.